Yo, Pete.
I'll
Jump on the headset. We back.
Say what?
We're going to need longer commercials. We're back. So, folks at home, we're back. I'm the only one back.
Sorry, I should have let it with that burp.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
Folks at home, welcome back to Ike Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I know we are. Been a great first segment, Pete. Talking Lake Champlain, talking Bash University, Bash U TV, getting some work done there, and of course,
Federation.
Getting a great conversation with Keith about qualifying for the Nationals, how important club fishing was. That was a good segment. Brian Carpenter, give me a 1 to 10, with 10 being the best.
Yes.
How was that segment?
Yes.
I felt like it was a strong one.
Oh, it was good. I enjoyed it.
That's the way I want to end this in this studio. I want to end with a good show.
Yeah.
All across the board. I want to end with a good show. I do want to let me introduce. We did just a little shift on the couch and little musical chairs, and Miss Rebecca has joined us on the couch tonight. Beck, how you doing?
Excellent, thank you.
Man, it's good to have you on the show. Who are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing. I got my LSU Tiger shirt on.
LSU shirt on.
Yeah.
That's very good.
And my Jim Jam Jabronis.
And Jim Jam Jabronis. We had mentioned earlier that this is the last show in this studio for Ike Live. And
well, that's why I had to show up, because
I
was here at the beginning.
You were here at the beginning.
I know Eric tried very hard to act like I didn't exist and
right.
part of the
Did
show.
He try writing you off of the Ike Live script?
Yeah.
He tried to make pretend you were never here?
Yeah. I've been here for a while.
You were here since the very beginning.
Yeah.
You used to always be on the show.
Yeah.
I was always on the show.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. I like having you on the show because I think it's important to have a woman's point of view.
And your point of view is always a good one.
Yeah.
I usually show up after the kids go to bed now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm on most shows, aren't I?
Yes, you're
Don't I
very
show up?
opinionated woman.
You don't have the baby monitor anymore.
No.
They're old
I figure
enough.
they'll come down and get me now.
I was always terrified to have one because every ghost movie has a ghost face on that thing. Like I would always feel like I'm going to look at it. There's going to be some like ghoul, hanging
On
out.
the baby monitor?
Just doing something.
Yeah.
Isn't it, Dave, aren't you the one that doesn't like old mirrors
Yes.
because
No.
ghosts live in them?
Listen, negative things live in old mirrors. That's all I'm going to say.
That might be true.
A mirror. Think of how magical a mirror is. Think about that. Could
Magical?
you make a friggin' mirror right now? None of you could.
I could not.
Wait, so that makes it
I
magical?
could not.
Hold on. There's this
Pete,
thing.
could you make a mirror right now?
There's this thing we have that shows us exactly every single essence of us, and you can. I believe that you can trap energy in a mirror.
I've heard that before. I mean, you're not the first one to say that. I've heard that. I've read that. I've seen it on
Like they get
TV.
stuck in the mirror?
No, just like naked. Man,
Or it's it's an
like
easy place for them to like live and be able to.
I don't know because it's such a magical device that I really can't fully explain it. What I can't articulate what I think about a mirror, but what I think is that any old mirror, never buy a mirror at a yard sale or anything like that. You don't know what kind of evil or negative shit was done in front of that mirror. That energy all goes somewhere.
Yeah.
You burp, you exhale a stinky breath, right? That's going somewhere. Your negative energy goes somewhere, man.
Yeah. Sucked into the mirror.
I don't know.
think they're
Yard sale
sponges.
stuff. I'm weird though. Like I don't like other people's stuff. Because like I have like memories, and I'm kind of with Dave, but a little less weird on the mirror thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
and magicalness of it. But
Mysticism, come
like,
on, man.
but other people's stuff, like jewelry, and you know what I mean. Like if they
feels
owned
like
it,
it's
there
them.
was
You're right.
like it was theirs. It was owned by
Yeah.
someone. Like their memories and their like there's
Like my son has a bayonet, one of our bayonets from World War I, and he has a British bayonet from World War I. I don't even let him put them up on the house.
Were you in World War I, Dave?
No, Rich. I'm talking about he's got bayonets.
Oh, okay.
Pete was.
Well, he was an advisor.
we called it the Great War.
Advisor.
But like
he was a mediator.
like Becky was saying, I don't even want them. Like who was at the end of that thing? Like who was who was on the bad side of that thing? I don't even want that in the house, man. I don't even let him put them up.
Yeah. So mirrors are bad. Baby monitors are bad. A lot of spirits come through. In fact, we don't have the regular baby monitor anymore, but with technology now, of course, you can do everything through an app. So we still have the monitor, and right now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to go on to ours, and now here's live Stellan Vegas, Pete, as you can see, and I'm going to turn up the volume on this one, and let's see if Brian's ghost might come through on here right now. So I'm going to turn it up. Let's just see if we can get Brian's ghost to come through. Okay. All right, it's up. Good, go.
Oh, is that the strip cam from Cheerleaders?
Oh my God, it's actually, I hear spirit through our baby monitor. Beck, wait a minute. He's coming through again.
Stand by, I'm going to go outside with Keith. He's burning the herb.
Oh, Beck, I think we got to shut these things down. This is crazy. I got to turn that off.
Why do we have to do Brian's Ghost when I'm here? It's my least favorite character.
We haven't done it in months.
You had like all this time.
Thinking the same thing.
I tried doing Hudley Crockett earlier. Dave couldn't find Hudley. Hudley's gone.
Hey, where's your little voice thing?
We need
I don't
Hudley
even
back.
have it. I don't know how to downloads.
You got to have Hudley
I
back,
gotta
man.
figure that out.
I actually like that one.
Brian's ghost or Hudley?
Brian's
Hudley.
ghost.
Oh, you like
I
Hudley.
hate Brian's Ghost.
I love Brian's ghost.
Brian hates it too.
So getting back to this, I
Yeah,
did want to
yeah.
ask. So we
Here I
were
am.
all reminiscing about the old studio. It's been an awesome ride here. A lot of good memories. Give us your feelings, your honest feelings about Ike Live leaving the studio
Yeah.
and entering the new studio. Honest feelings, and they could be give us
I
multiple.
have very mixed feelings about
Okay.
it because right now, as much as I love you all, and yet I'm ready to get rid of you from my home.
Thank you for not saying it all.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult because right now, like I know the kids are like in the same building as me. They're asleep. I can like come down here comfortably. Like now, I'm going to have to leave here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little weirder for me to come
Yeah.
and go as easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because early on there was some suspect people getting drugged through your house.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, Pete, he brings the worst of them.
Oh my god.
The one dude's in jail now.
Oh my god.
I wasn't going to say the crime, but dang.
I didn't say the crime.
No, I know.
So Pete wants to bring someone to your house and you don't know him, just don't let him.
Convict music.
Dang.
I do hang around with some unusual people, but you guys, you got to count yourselves in that category.
Hey, Zach Island.
Oh my god. So mixed emotions about it.
Mixed, but it'll be good. I'm excited. The space is amazing. I think it'll be really cool.
All right. Want to let everybody know again, I mentioned it earlier, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to chime in on the IMs right now on this. What in the studio would you like to see come over to the new studio? What in the old studio would you like to see come over? And what do you want to stay? Or what do you want us to throw away? Beck, anything looking around here in the studio that you see that you say, man, this has to come into the new space?
Mark Jeffries' picture.
Mark Jeffries.
I know Brian.
Why is that so
pissed off
popular? I don't understand why
Mark
that's
Jeffries.
so. All the cool
Because
things
it's
in here.
so hilarious that it looks so
I
much
don't
like
think
Mark
it
Jeffries.
does. I never thought it did.
Who is that? Houdini?
But that hair is awesome.
It's Mark Jeffries.
It's Mark Jeffries.
Mark
Like I would
Jeffries.
love to know how he got his hair like that.
I wonder if a spirit's trapped in that painting.
I would,
Nobody
even-
can see
I
it,
would
by
never
the
have
way.
brought
Why don't
that
you
in.
put- why don't you
Oh,
grab
you're
the
right.
picture off
You're
the
right.
wall?
You're right.
But wait, where did it come from?
Well, you guys are doing pretty well. So whatever's in there, some good juju.
I don't know.
I would have got the one from.
There's really
Here it goes. Find a carpenter. Mark Jeffries, everybody.
So for the people listening,
Let's Talk Live.
no one knows who that dude is, and Mike just bought the thing at like a yard sale. Somebody's like great grandfather, who was probably a well off guy. He's got the tie necklace on.
Holy shit, dude! The paper just peeled back.
Yep.
There's $1 million in there.
There's a Ouija
There's a-
board behind that
yeah.
thing. Is what there is.
There's a Picasso back
There's
there.
an original Ouija board.
all right, but let's be honest. That's probably the only thing in this entire studio that's going to match the new space.
Match.
I disagree. I
Boo.
think some of the I think the 100-pound belts have to come over. of
Brian's
course.
Gollum has to come.
I think some of the trophies have to come over. I also believe that the mounts should come over. We have some mounts, fish
Yes.
mounts.
The knife and the football
Mark-
got to come.
Yeah,
Mark's
maybe
gotta
that.
come with.
Yeah, Mark might come over. Maybe the big lure, the old fishing rod. I see a couple things here and there.
The AOI trophy.
She's just Beck's just quiet. She doesn't even want to say anything. Oh yeah, the door knocker.
This super rad door knocker.
Oh yeah, the brass
has a
door
place.
knocker has to come over.
I actually think that we found its match when we were in Spain.
That's bad.
Do you remember that door? There was like one, and one was
That's right,
missing. And I'm
one
like,
was
someone
missing.
stole it.
Yeah.
Apparently, we stole it.
That was right. All right,
What's it look like, Dave?
Oh, dude, I just showed everybody.
Yeah.
Before you yell at me.
brass door knocker. All right, let's use that as a segue. Beck would like
good
segue.
to talk about Spain and Paris.
Oh,
Yeah.
Putting Kyle on hold.
Oh, it's up to you. Yeah, is that
All right,
okay?
well, I'll text him.
Okay, yeah. Give us just a little bit.
Okay.
Big trip.
Don't mind the notes.
Big trip.
I thought he was in the first segment. I'm sorry.
Big trip happened last week.
Yeah.
We were in Paris for 5 days, Spain for 4 days.
No, I think that was 5-2.
5 and 5. Thoughts on the trip? What do you think?
It was an awesome trip.
Awesome trip.
Yeah. For so many different reasons. What part are we trying to
I don't
discuss
know.
here?
I don't know. All right, there goes our perfect show.
So, all right, so let's preface this. So, Mike was invited to the Euro Cup in Spain. So, it came right at the same time that his European rods were released. So, he's got his Ike Series rods. They came out with an entire series that made sense for Europe. So, a lot of different species. So, like for your Xander and your Carp and all that. So, a lot of different actions than what you would typically see in the U.S. nor what the U.S. needs. So they won some awards, which is...
They won the F-Tech. Am I saying that right?
I thought it was like the whatever. So it's basically ICAST version, but in Europe. And they won the best in show for the rods.
Dang.
So we were heading over for the Euro Cup in Spain. Pure Fishing's Abu Garcia team brought us over. One, to help with the release of the rods over there, and two, for Mike to fish.
Nice.
They partnered him with one of their anglers, who was Bastien out of France, and there were two other guys, French guys, on the Abu team. So there were two teams that Abu Garcia put together for this. So we decided on the front end of the trip to put Paris, and it was just 5 days of just fun. I mean, we hiked around the city. We saw everything you'd possibly want to see. The kids were in heaven. Stella's been obsessed with Paris for 1.5 years for no good reason.
Really?
So
Yeah.
she
That's
saw that
surprising.
Eiffel Tower, and I think she peed her pants.
Yeah.
It was
It's cool.
It was awesome. She was so
Yeah.
excited. And then, of course, once you're in Europe, okay, so how much does it cost just to fly from state to state in the U.S.? It's like $300 just off the giddy. You know what I mean? Unless you
Right.
get some budget airline. Once you're in Europe, it's like $70 to fly to another country.
Yeah.
It's so
Really
inexpensive and affordable.
Super cheap. Yeah.
So we did the 5 days. We saw, the Eiffel Tower. We saw Sacré-Cœur, the Arc de Triomphe, and what was left of Notre Dame.
The Louvre.
The Louvre.
The Louvre.
Are they building Notre Dame now?
Yeah,
yeah,
so
they're
right-
working on it. They're working on it.
So right now what you see is, I think so much was compromised from the fires, all those buttresses. They're building scaffolding up underneath it, I think, to try to support it. So they're not, who knows what they're doing inside, but on the exterior, I think they're just trying to support it so there's no more damage. Because structurally, I think it's very, very damaged.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, Paris was an amazing city, dude. I mean, the history, the food.
It's the first time you guys have ever been?
First time I've been. Becky's been a few times.
Yeah, it was my 4th or 5th time, and I've never gotten in the Louvre because they're always on strike. The Frenchies love to strike.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Louvre was amazing. The art,
Yeah.
the history there was unreal.
Isn't that a pyramid?
They have a glass pyramid that they built recently, right?
For the
it's an entrance.
well,
it's a new
probably
entryway.
10, 15 years ago
Yeah.
or something.
Becky,
That's the entrance.
Wasn't your family butler from Paris?
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he was.
What was his name again?
Benson.
Benson? He sounds British.
No, you remember the TV show Benson?
Benson from Paris. And here's the other cool thing. I'm going to jump in. All that amazing history and culture and food and all that stuff's gone on. and I had a chance to sneak in 2 days of fishing,
Of course.
mornings of fishing, which is really unbelievable. I got hooked up with this guy, Fred. A shout out to Fred and French Touch Fishing on Instagram if you want to follow Fred.
Capitan Fred.
Yeah, Fred, really good
Captain
guy.
Fred.
But it's interesting. I posted a message on Instagram, and like I said, does anybody know anybody in Paris that street fishes? And like 90% of the comments came back said Fred. Everybody knew Fred. So I hooked up with Fred, and it's true. Like he was dialed with fishing that place, fishing the Seine River. And dude, it was incredible. It was incredible because it was, you know, some of the tactics they used, but the river itself and how, you know, the fish are positioning, and it was just a great experience. Targeting a perch, a zander, pike, and like suckers, like chub, but basically like a golden shiner, but they can get up to 5 or 6 pounds, and they eat topwater. It's craziest fishing I've ever had. And the perch. You know,
we saw the pictures,
dude.
They're just huge,
unbelievable, dude, unbelievable. For all my yellow perch fans in the United States, dude, like our perch on steroids, incredible. I mean, built different, like way taller and wider, big, little bit bigger mouth.
Look like peacock bass, a little
dude,
bit.
almost like a peacock, almost you know, like smallmouth-esque,
Yeah,
body,
Yep.
you know. But dude, incredible fishing right on the Seine, and all this is going down. Like you're catching these fish. And you stop and take the picture, and in the background is the Eiffel Tower, is, you know, Notre Dame, is all these famous historic places, and you're catching them right there, like right there,
Man, that's
dude.
cool.
It's the craziest thing. It was a great experience. You know.
What'd you do when he was fishing? Anything cool?
I was sleeping.
Now, did you guys?
I went early.
She's a huge fan of wine. Is the wine what everyone says there? Or is it any different? Or
It's
Huge
so good.
fan.
really?
So good.
Yeah, the beer's actually good too.
Yeah.
See if I can pull up a picture of the beer.
Here's the other thing. In the U.S., we're real weird about how we have to like add preservatives to everything. So you know how you get headaches when you drink wine in the U.S.
Yeah.
Typically, it's not the wine. It's all
Oh, I didn't
the
know
preservatives.
That. I did not know that. That's why I don't drink it.
So when you go abroad, it's so nice to have a glass of wine or even a bottle of wine. You don't get a headache. There's not all that crap in it because they don't have the same rules that we have in the U.S.
I should probably stay away from there. the
Yeah, because
headaches.
Pete was going to get on a plane across an ocean.
Oh,
The headaches are.
They don't have
important
enough
to me.
captain for Pete to get on the plane to go across the ocean.
Come on, I fly. Just don't like it.
You're like the John Madden of fishing. He would always drive from town to town on a bus.
If I had a bus
Aaron Martins.
and a bus driver,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Bullshit on Aaron Martin.
Aaron
he was just in
Martins.
Japan.
He doesn't like to fly.
He was just in Japan.
He drove his boat to Japan. Straight across there. He's got Phoenix. He can take that.
Is that right?
He's good. So Paris was great.
Paris was great.
Little flight to Spain. We
Yeah.
spent a day and a half in Madrid.
Yeah.
Madrid's dope city, dude. Dope city. Super cool city. Clean city. Minus the gypsies. Really cool city. Food there was unbelievable. Meat just everywhere. Just meat. Meat. Like the most amazing meat. You know what I mean? Like legs.
like pork, lamb,
Oh, everything.
beef. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Dude, I mean, like the legs of the fucking
They like just dry
lamb
age
and
it. So
cattle.
it's just all hanging there.
It's
and
just
then they
all hanging around.
shave it
And
off.
then all of a sudden they'll pull off a little razor or knife and here, meat. And you're like, is that? And then you eat it and you're like, holy shit, this is the best meat I've ever had in my life. And cheese, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
People say that about Spain. I mean, I don't know.
It's good. It's good. And then we drove down to the lake, and this is what I thought was interesting. So we leave the city center, and we drive about 2.5 hours south through the desert, dude. The desert and giant mountains, and it really feels like you're in Nevada, right? Like it has that West Coast feel to it, where it's flat desert. Then all of a sudden,
High desert plateau.
then a giant freaking mountain, you know.
Yeah, it's real arid. There was a lot of olive trees, so there's
Tons
slightly
of olive trees.
slightly less arid than a desert.
Yeah.
They've some
Yep.
rain,
Yeah.
but that's basically it.
Yeah, and then
That's where you were fishing
goats and
in
olive
Maine.
trees.
we were fishing down there. Yeah, about 2 hours south of Madrid. And then what was the name of the lake? Do you remember?
The Sahara.
Sahara Reservoir. We get to the lake. The lake's 40 feet low, Pete. 40 feet.
It's a long boat
Dude.
launch.
long boat launch. They actually had to kind of make it as the tournament was happening. You know what I mean? But it reminded me a lot of a Meade, of a Havasu, of a Del Rio. You know, South Texas, Arizona Lake. It had that feel to it.
Right.
You know, and really, really cool the way it laid out. And so there was 130, was that right?
Yeah, it was like 125 or 130.
130 teams from all over Europe. So Italy, Spain, Portugal,
Poland,
Poland,
Yeah, we're the Polish
Russia.
Yeah.
So the Polish team kicks ass on that place.
Of course they do.
They've won it 3 times.
Yeah,
They won the last 2 years in a row.
not shocking.
Yeah, and this year,
Why wouldn't they?
this year, they came in 3rd.
Yeah,
Because they came in
Wow.
late, Dave.
Amazing. No,
They
that's
got
not
their
true.
weigh-in times wrong. Can you relate?
that was good.
Can you relate?
I don't look back often. That's a good one. That just probably shut me down for the night.
It's not true. They
Dave,
were
never
like-
give up, Dave.
I didn't realize it was such a big derby.
Dude, it's a big deal. So basically, the way that I heard it from multiple people, not just one person, but it's the European Bassmaster Classic, the closest thing they have to it.
Right.
You know, and of course, it's a team event, so it's a little different. So it's you and a partner, but it's the biggest bass tournament they have in Europe. Period.
Wow.
Bar none. I mean, these teams, you know, work, you know, all year to practice and, you know, get to this event and then try to win it, you know? So it's a big deal, you
It's
know?
the closest thing we have to the bass fishing in the Olympics, man. You know, think about it.
It is.
International. Did you fish with an American?
I fished with a guy from France.
Okay.
A young guy who's really, really talented. Shout out to Bastion. I know he's not watching it, but he's a pike guide. That's his full-time gig, is he guides for pike in Spain, but he guides people from France that literally fly over. They fly into Madrid. They pick them up. They drive them down to this lodge, and then they have a handful of guides, and Bastion's one of them. And dude, I mean, they're catching pike that are like what our muskie would be.
Did you make a rod for the pike, a spinning rod specifically?
We have rod for pike. We do.
Is
we
it
have
spinning?
We have one spinning rod for pike.
Because I'm sorry, this cuts away from what we're talking about. How do you think that would work for flipping like half-ounce baits and stuff like that in our kind of the 20-pound braid? Yeah. What do you?
I think it would work. So the rod the spinning rod you're saying that we have for
Yeah.
pike has the right action for it tip wise, but it has a really long handle.
Okay.
A lot of the European rods are what they call long cast design. Yeah, because a lot of the European anglers, they don't have boats, dude. They're bank fishing. They're fishing from belly boats. So they need a rod where they can launch it. So a lot of the rods are long cast design, you know?
Because I really need something like a jig rod that has that 2080
In a spinning
in a
rod.
spinning rod,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll give you the 9-footer and let you try it. My handle might be a little too long. What do you got, Riz?
Matt from Wisconsin wants to know, do they fish any different style baits over there? And if so, did you bring any of those baits back home and
Good
think
question.
you might use them?
It is a good question. In general, I'd say the techniques that I saw them using were a lot of the same stuff. You know, I mean, they have, you know, finesse tactics, power fishing tactics. I'd say in general, it was the same, except I got lucky enough that the one guy that was on the other Abu guy, that was
Matios?
that fished for Abu Garcia, makes baits, and he did send me home with some amazing stuff. He sent me home with a couple full-size spy baits. He sent me home with a top water that you just reel. You just reel it straight in. It's got a prop on the back. Crazy action what it does in the water. And he also ties full-size hair jigs, but he puts a stinger on the back. So I got to come home with some new stuff. But in general, dude, the lake, the anglers, everything was the same. Like, I went there expecting, like, I didn't know what to expect, you know?
Well,
But
the tournaments that I've seen you compete in before have been
Yeah.
low weights,
Yeah.
relative difficult fishing.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Not this time. This was unbelievable. I mean, the lake really showed out, you know?
Yeah.
So it was you need it. You know, you needed that 20-pound bag to
That's crazy.
separate yourself. You know,
that was so surprising to see.
it was crazy. Yeah. So the water in 3/4 of the reservoir was crystal clear, super clear, and I would say a majority of the field fished in 20, 30, 40 feet of water, with mainly a lot of finesse tactics. You know, and that's how a lot of the fish were caught. And Bastian and I found the one area of the lake that had dirty water. And this is a real good, it's a good lesson. Even for me, it reiterates sometimes that how important that is, you know? And it was like in that section, and it was only, I bet you it wasn't 2 miles section of the river, the main feeder river, that got dirty, right? It was like clean, clean, clean. And as we got further in that river, got a little marginal, but it was still clean. And then all of a sudden there was this definitive line where it turned to mud. And from that line till we couldn't go any further, literally till it ran out of water, we fished channel swings. Anywhere the channel would swing to a bank, you know, and it would touch rock. That's what the predominant form of cover was. And dude, those fish there were shallow and biting versus the fish in that clear water that you had to finesse them. They were tricky. They were deep. You know what I mean? And that was the difference, man. Wow. That was the difference. First day, there were 3 boats back there and 1 left. So it was 2 boats running that water. And we caught almost 21 pounds by 10 o'clock. And we left.
Dang.
And it was a good decision. We left to save it. You know what I mean? There's nobody here. This is the shit. Let's go do other stuff. We came back the second day, and this even happens in Spain, and there were 15 boats in there the second day. Word got out.
Fast.
Word got out. But we stuck with it, and we ran those points, and we had 2 windows. We had an early window and a late window, and we caught, we were able to catch 17.5 or whatever pounds the last day, and it was awesome. It was an awesome experience, dude. It was a great experience.
It's a big win. Well, how'd you get your partner? Is it an open draw tournament, or how'd you get?
It's not an open draw. So I got the partner through Abu Garcia. So it was an invite from Abu Garcia, and then they had a guy that didn't have a partner that was a single. So that's sort of how I got it. But I couldn't have got a better guy because he was young and he could fish fast, you know? Because this wasn't like a go out there and like throw a drop shot and shake. This was run up to a point, drop the trolling motor, hit it, next one. It was a lot of work, and he could hang with it.
Was there a language barrier?
He spoke really good English.
Yeah.
That's the thing with all Europeans, you know, like
We're the only dummies that have
we're
one
the
language.
only
Yeah,
dummies.
we're the only ones.
We're the only idiots that have one language, you know.
Now, what for Captain Bonaparte? What was his name?
Who?
The guy you fished with.
Bastion.
Bastian. For Captain Bastian. What did this victory do for his career as a guide? Like, is this a big deal over there? Like,
I think it's a big deal.
Okay.
I think for him it's going to be a huge deal, you know. And there was, you know, we won, you know, depth finders and trolling motors and cash and a bass boat. So
of course
it's very lucrative as well.
Goes
you
to
know?
tours Europe and wins a boat.
Yeah.
Jesus God.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of you.
So
Here, here. Cheers to that.
and that was our trip to Spain.
Oh, and I won $1,000 scratch off in there.
Too, you know, like, Jesus God, dude.
No gold doubloons.
It was a great trip. Vegas got to fish while we were in
Give it to your
Spain.
friends to like.
Vegas caught his first Xander, which
Yeah.
was really cool. It's just a cool experience, you know. And right there by Pete's leg, right there, that's cool, you know. And this is a good memory of the trip, you know. And I'll be able, and this will go up into the new studio.
Is that the top rod trophy?
That's the top rod trophy.
I gotta be a little critical here, man. They
Well, I know.
could have stepped this up.
I know. It's just,
Jake got a bigger soccer
I know.
participation
I know.
trophy.
Participation trophy.
Now the trophy's lacking, but I gotta tell you, some of the other stuff was unbelievable, and I hope you're going to see a Going Ike video on this, and I hope we're able to capture it. That's lacking, but I tell you what's not, dude. They had a podium created.
No crates.
No, it was a wooden
Soapboxes.
It was like soapboxes. It was like soapboxes. A wooden podium that had the 3 tiers. I just thought this was super cool. Like, why don't we do this here?
I did a bracket.
Yeah. So we had, first, second,
Yeah, that's
third.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then as they were making the announcement of these 3 positions, they're playing Queen.
We are the champions.
We are the champions.
Yes.
And then they shoot confetti. It was this big deal, and I'm like, damn, now that's better than an elite or a MLF.
Yeah, no
you
doubt.
know what I mean?
That's cool.
Way better than MLF. So like, why didn't they lacked on the trophy, but all the other stuff was really good. It was a great experience,
Yeah, it was
man.
cool.
It was a great experience.
So how you doing? Like you got to sell the boat?
Yeah.
Cash prizes? You
Yeah,
gotta-
I mean, we're basically split everything down the middle. So
Okay.
the physical stuff is getting sold and split, and then the cash we're able to split.
What
right,
kind of
right
boat?
there? It's a bass tracker, but like a really really nice one. Like 20,000 euros or 30,000 euros?
26,
26,000
which is
euros.
about 30 grand.
About 30
Wow,
grand
wow, cool.
US. It's pretty
Dang.
good. It's good. It was a good payday.
Good,
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
it's nice.
Dang.
Super nice.
Yeah,
European vacation?
we'll take it. Yeah.
Fucking you.
Now
You make money.
here's the fun part. So listen, they don't weigh in pounds.
Oh.
They weigh in kilos.
Yeah. So I
So
did
you
this.
have to try to do the conversion, which is almost double. It's
Yeah.
not the hardest
Yeah, it's like
conversion, but the
2.2.
first day when I saw it, I was like, what's 9 kilos? What
Yeah.
the heck? You're like Googling real quick.
So
Like, is that good? Is that
Yeah,
bad?
yeah,
Like,
it's
what does
like-
that
yeah,
mean?
It's like
9
19
kilos?
pounds.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
Hold on.
2.2 is a kilo, right?
Hold on, here you go. I did this conversion the other day. 9.66 kilos in pounds is 21.297.
So that's what you weighed the first day.
That's what we weighed the first day. 21.297.
That's a bag.
And the second day we weighed 776.
Yeah, I think so.
776.
It's like 15.4.
Hold on.
Yeah, kilos doesn't translate to bass fishing very well.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be better, Brad. It could be weighing them in stone. Yeah, it could
And
happen.
776 kilos in pounds is 17 pounds 10 ounces.
Yeah, 776 don't sound very sexy.
Yeah. But they're good bags. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's totally impressive. I saw
So-
the pictures of the bass.
They were giants.
Your big ones were 5-pounders.
5-pounders. Yeah.
And they're different.
They're different.
They
What?
look different. The bass
They're-
look different. So
they're
they have
built
this big,
different.
broad head and like shoulders.
They're definitely
and then they're
built
like
different,
long
dude.
and skinny.
Florida
they're built
strains?
different. I don't know if they're Florida strains. I don't
It's a
know.
long way to go.
I don't know. But they
Look like
look
a Florida
They
strain.
look
Swim.
different. They really look
Did-
different.
now they
must
stocked
have
them
to get
there, I
across
guess.
the ocean.
They were in Aaron's live well.
They were in Aaron's live well. Yeah, no, they were stocked from what I trying to communicate with them. They were a lot of the lakes were stocked in the 70s. A lot of these reservoirs, tons of reservoirs in Spain.
Full bush?
Power generation.
They do hydroelectric.
Hydroelectric.
So that's how they get their power. is
Yeah.
from these reservoirs.
Yeah, and so they were all stocked with bass in the 70s. And some of them have flourished, and some of them have taken a hit from other species. It's interesting. We were just talking about that with the lake that Keith fished, with lake trout. But a few of the lakes, the zander, have literally decimated the bass population.
Oh, wow.
And it's a lot of it's because they're eating their forage completely away. The bass that are left are skinny, and the zander are taking over.
Brian, can you bring
You know?
a picture of a Xander up? I never really know what that looks
Yeah,
like.
It's like a walleye.
It's like a walleye.
I want to see what the new fish I have to hate is.
Yeah. Ben Pisaric on the message board says that your European trip, it sounds like a movie. Kilos, money, boats, and big bags.
It's going to be a Going Ike episode, so we'll have to use some of that terminology.
Any other of our guys over there with you?
No, not this year. But we've had guys fish it. Kevin's fished this tournament.
Okay.
Casey Ashley.
Casey
was there.
Ashley fished this tournament. Yeah, did Gerald fish this one or no?
Wonder if he
Okay.
sung his country music on the stage or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. He may have.
Maybe.
He
But
may
the
have.
Power Pole guys were there. We stayed in a house
Power Pole
with
guys
the guys
were there.
from Power
Very
Pole.
cool. Shout out to Power Pole.
Lawrence supports it.
Yeah, yeah. There was
So
a lot of
the
nice,
same companies
crossover.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of nice crossover. But
Yeah.
great experience.
What about the crowd? Was it like a classic crowd? Was it what? Did anybody? Was it like an MLF crowd? What
Well, so
kind of
here's
crowd
what
we
you,
have?
Here's what you have to understand. You're in the middle of nowhere. The town itself where this takes place has 60 permanent residents. That's it.
That
crazy.
sounds awesome.
There's no store. There's no anything. Like, this is like what you can imagine this old school Spanish town being,
Yeah.
like real small.
Yeah.
So everyone comes for this and has to find lodging somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not in the town.
It's wild.
Right.
So everyone is there probably with their family. So say 100, okay, so 250 people plus, like maybe some family members and such. So, I mean, you probably have a couple hundred people there. Right? Would that mathematically be right? I mean, you're in the desert.
Yeah.
But they've got a setup. I mean, there's food trucks and there's drinks
Oh, dude,
and
they
there's...
had a full
I mean,
stage.
wow.
and
Yeah.
They had fireworks. I mean, it was an
It
amazing
looks like
deal.
either a dead bass, right, with his eyes bulging out of his head, or it does look like a walleye.
I think
Yeah.
that's a poor picture of Xander.
Well, yeah, it's compressed and squashed.
Okay.
all right.
So imagine that, but
Squashed.
stretched out.
And stressed out.
But we're not spending any more time on it.
No, we're not spending more time.
You can check out Vegas the Hammer's Instagram page
Yeah.
because he caught one.
Okay.
You can see it.
It'll look better in the new studio.
That's right.
All right, Bright. Let's wind down on that one, and you want to dial Kyle up?
Sure.
Yeah, let's dial Kyle up.
Well, congratulations.
It was cool. Yeah,
That
it
was
was a
a
good
great win.
experience. It was a good experience.
World champion.
Yes, I like it.
You could add that to the resume.
I like it. I like it. It was good.
You could take
Next year, looking at going to Japan for our big trip. So keeping that on
Good.
the
Maybe
radar.
you can give the Japanese the Chewbacca gift you gave them back.
Maybe I should.
For the people who don't know
That was
joke,
a good show.
the
That was a
we
good
had
show.
a bunch of Japanese anglers show up. They brought Mike all kinds of gifts and kickback, and Mike gave him. Mike got
grab
caught
it.
off guard
Grab it,
with
Mike.
it, and gave him as a joke. He gave him this, and the Indian gave it. He didn't even give it to him. They didn't even leave with it.
They purposely didn't leave with it. They're like, I don't want that piece of shit.
I'm just saying, it'd be funny if you brought it back to him and like a gift wrap.
Maybe I should.
You know.
Yeah.
Hey, is there a green room at the new studio with like champagne and hors d'oeuvres?
Oh,
Becky's not
that's-
trying to make it comfortable.
Yeah,
for us.
we
She
should
wants us
have a
out
green
when this
room.
thing
Thank
ends,
you.
dude.
We should have a green room. That's a good idea.
The only time we eat is when she's showing out for the guests that are staying in the guest room over there. That's the
can
only
make-
time
we
we get
can
fed,
make
and we're
the
byproducts
office
of their
up
presence.
there.
You know?
During shows, we can make that office the green room. That's a great idea.
It's an awful idea.
Oh.
Just hang out, have some drinks, and leave. Talk a bit, leave.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Here's the best part. I can't be the only one that gets annoyed if you all make a mess now because you're in the office. So, like, the next day, if the ladies come in and you guys have made a mess, you guys will
Accountability.
never hear the end of it.
Accountability, folks. Accountability.
We don't
Miss
need
Janet's gonna
accountability.
get you.
We pretty much eat when the shorts come. We're guaranteed like some broccoli pizza when the shorts come. Let's see what else. I'm just thinking about when we get fed.
When Charles is here,
When the
he
Swindles
cooks,
are here, we
he
oh, yeah,
cooks
well,
for
of
us.
course. But he
Charles.
brings the food down 1 minute of, and drunk dad has a seizure. You can't like Charles is bad news. He's got to cook that stuff an hour sooner.
Drunk dad. All
Well,
right.
how would Pete even know if we have food? He shows up 2 minutes before the
You're
show
right.
starts.
Yeah.
With his coffee.
With his coffee in quotes. Let me remind everybody watching right now, if you're watching on Facebook, like and share this feed, and you'll be entered in a contest to win the amazing Ike Live gift bag. You know this bag. It's loaded. MTB box, Flambeau, Liquid Mayhem, Real Snot, Tackle Warehouse, all kinds of stuff. Founders stuff in there.
Drained Founders cans.
Yeah, empty Founders can. Like and share the feed. You'll be entered in a contest to win that bag. Beck, what do you think?
It's lovely.
It is lovely. It is lovely.
It will all be in there because Miss Janet makes sure.
Yeah, we had a bit earlier about winning, like something about like winning a prize on the show in 2013.
Yeah,
like
it never made it.
whatever it was, not making it. Yeah.
There's
All
still disgruntled
Yeah.
viewers
It's
out
the
there
same,
waiting.
It's the same guys that win over and over
I
again.
know.
I have no sympathy.
Yeah.
Y'all have like 5 of these each. sitting
Yeah,
in your-
Right.
New York, you just y'alled. That's your first warning.
Oh, you just had a yaw. Brian is going to kill you
I'm
if you
triggered.
yaw.
These guys got too many of
Use
these
guys.
bags.
Use guys.
Guys, definitely. Good
Use
job.
guys. All right, I'm excited, Pete. Here we are in the second segment. Mentioned at the beginning of the show, we've got a guy coming on the show for the first time, sophomore on the BASS Elite Trail, having a great career so far, really good career, coming off a good tournament, almost won it last week at 10 Killer. Excited to have him on the Ike Live show. We're being joined by Captain. I want to get that in there. Make sure I get the captain in there. Kyle Monty, everybody, joins Ike Live. Kyle,
How's it going, guys?
how you doing tonight?
How's my service?
It's pretty good. I like
Well, you guys have been all over the place tonight, so I don't even know where to start.
Okay, I like first thing. I like the wall behind you right there. Beck, look at that. That looks good. That looks like something from the new studio.
The map of Okeechobee
It's
to the
lovely.
left.
Well, I
Wooden.
mean, when you live your whole life to be on the Ike Live show, you
Yeah.
gotta pick the best wall in your house and go with it, right?
I like it. I like it. I like it. First off, congrats on 10 Killer last week. I was, the nice thing about, for me, the season, MLF season being over, is now I can watch live just all the time. So I got to see you fish and had a great one there. There was a lot of complaining going into that event from people. This is going to be the worst tournament I've ever fished in my life. This place sucks. This is doom and gloom. And you turned out a really good event. What was key to your finish there? How did you do that?
Well, for me, it was, going into that time of year, you know it's going to be tough no matter where you're at. But think about like where you're at, Mike. When you come to Okeechobee, I feel like it's one of the best places in the world. When you come to Okeechobee, what do you think? Sometimes it can be that way. It can be one of those places where you just hate being there. Like you know it's going to be tough. It's a mindset, man. You know how it is. It's a mind game, the whole thing. And I love it. I love that it was changed last minute, thrown to it. For me, it was finding a spot. It was finding an actual spot that I felt like, in that tournament, a 16-inch fish was huge because largemouth and smallmouth had to both be 16 inches. So to me, it was finding a place where I could catch more than just one. Going down the bank, you catch one here and there, but you come up with a pattern with what type of banks are on. But for me, it was having an area and being able to just lock something in your hand and go and fish.
Yeah, staying focused. Pete, I can tell you, I like those grinders. In fact, I heard several times during the live broadcast, I think it was Sushin or was it Ronnie, said that this is the toughest tournament since the Delaware River. They made that analogy several times
funny.
during live, which I thought was really cool. I also heard this, and I want to get your opinion on it, Kyle. I heard that this was the first tournament all year that was a true test of the angler's ability because there was no, guys didn't go there 2 months ahead of time and practice. You couldn't call your buddy before the 30-day off. You couldn't do any of that. You had to really just fish the moment. And you saw that with a lot of, new names, Kyle, including yourself. And then with Carl winning, you saw some new guys really dominate. Do you think that's true? Do you think that,
Well, here's the thing. With us, it's not 30 days anymore. As soon as they let the schedule out a year ago, nobody was allowed to get information anymore. So based on that rule, nobody was allowed to get information on Fort Gibson. That was where the tournament was originally scheduled, right after the Texas Fest. We didn't end up going there because of flooding. And we were still trying to go there, but after the fact, they realized we couldn't put 75 boats in and go out. So they said, hey, we're going to go to 10 Killer last minute. So, if someone was to call their buddy, it wouldn't be within the rules, but it was awesome to see a bunch of guys that have struggled all year. And I think that just goes to show that at that level, anybody can win. Anybody can contest for the win. And I had a pretty rough year. I'm not gonna lie. But to end like that, it felt good. Everybody tells you, man, that's great, that's awesome. But going into the last day with almost a 3-pound lead on a lake that's tough to get bit, like the goal was to win, and that didn't happen. So going into next year, I mean, I feel like that's definitely something I can do, but it's better than being in 60th. I promise you that.
Yeah, well, you had a great tournament. Like I said, I watched it. I thought you did a good job. The thing that stood out, and I want to call you that played on this too, is then this is the obvious one. You're a Lake Okeechobee guy. You that's your bread and butter. You make your other part of your living on that lake. The techniques you were using are so far removed from what you would do on Lake Okeechobee.
As is the body of water.
As is the body of water. I mean, drop shot and biffle head. Talk a little bit about that, because I think that threw a lot of people off.
Yeah, I agree, because a lot of the questions I got were the same. They were along the same lines after the fact. Everybody's, well, how does a guy from Okeechobee know how to use a drop shot? And the truth is, there's a few places here where, outside of the 12-foot and under spectrum, mostly 5 feet and under, flipping grass, fishing grass, there's a few places here where I can do that. I can fish deeper than 15 foot of water. He needs a refill. Someone get a refill. Time out. But, I mean, there's a few places where I've been able to do that, and for the most part, a lot of the guys around here, a lot of the guides around here throw Carolina rigs, black trickworm, and they go. That's it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was more about using my graphs and figuring out what's actually there. But growing up through the Federation, doing that with guys that fish the lake all the time since I was 11 years old, I'd go out with a guy. One guy fishes, a spot in a canal that you don't ever think of, and he's out in the middle, and he's just throwing a Carolina rig. Well, now with the graphs they are the way nowadays, I can go back over those and figure these places out. And I'm using a wobble head on a place that fish don't see it. So it gives me a lot of confidence when I go to a place like Oklahoma where, I mean, come on, that's where it came from. Biffle, I mean, that's where everybody knows it from. Going out there and being able to use it and have confidence in a tournament where you're not getting very many bites, I mean, it's just huge.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting with the big worm. What prompted that choice, Kyle? Because I know biffle head and a lot of guys use creature beaver style baits. That's probably the number one choice. I like the big worm. In fact, at Chickamauga, the year that Wheeler won, I had like 27 pounds the first day, and I caught most of it on a biffle head with a 12-inch worm. And I saw you throwing that big worm. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was throwing two different types of big worms. I was throwing the Zoom Magnum trick worm, which is just a straight tail. If you've ever been to Florida, Cincos, trick worms, baits with no action, they love it. So for me, it was a confidence thing. But in practice, I threw the biffle bug. I threw a bunch of different colors in the biffle bug. Didn't work out. Yeah, I see you. I'm good. I got one. But I threw the biffle bug in practice and didn't have any bites on it. So in the tournament, I did not expect to do that. I did not throw that the first day. I had 14 something. I was in the top 5, right where I needed to be. I did not throw a hard head because I was fishing a lot of stuff that was deeper, 20 to 25 brush piles, and the bottom was kind of just sandy. It was just like a backside of a sandbar. So to me, the biffle bug, the hard head style bait works better on a hard bottom where you can cast it up there and drag it like a Carolina rig, and you can feel it. It feels like it's coming across the parking lot. So I went with that because the second day I had a tough day. I didn't weigh in, but I think I had 4 fish, but one was a tiny little spotted bass. So in my mind, it didn't even really matter. So I knew I had to make an adjustment, and that third day is when I went to it, and that's when I realized I can get up a little bit shallower, that 5 to 8 foot range, and catch fish. Taking that thing, and at home a lot of times, like, I just drag it and stop it, just short drags. Florida is the slowest fishing you can imagine. I mean, just everybody throws a Cinco out there, smokes a cigarette, and they catch. You know what I mean? That's how everybody in Florida seems to fish. So with that out there, I figured, I've caught them reeling it before down here, but you see a lot more of that out there with biffle, especially. Cranking that thing sort of, and I didn't get any bites on it dragging it. I started reeling it real slow, got a bite within 5 minutes. It was one of those 16, 17 inchers that, really mattered in that tournament. I said, well, I might be onto something. And as soon as I got another bite doing it, 2 bites is a pattern. You just go with it.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome. I love to see that technique utilized. You mentioned something. I want to jump back to it. You mentioned you fished the Federation, and we got to talk a little bit about that earlier in the show. We were talking about how for us in the studio, the club level, the Federation, the nation was so important. I'm looking here. I've got some stats: a 4-time AOY Big O teen angler.
You really dug deep.
Well, that's Brian DeCarpenter. I'm going to give him all the credit for that.
Deep.
FLW college events. I know you fished against the Lee brothers. Talk a little bit about that, because we've got a lot of young anglers watching right now. We've got some young anglers that are going to listen to this podcast a month or two from now, and they're saying, man, how the hell do I want to do what these guys are doing? What do I need to do? Talk a little bit about your background to get where you're at now.
So I was kind of in that in-between era of, the Iconellis, the Van Dams, the Swindles, and the guys that are coming up now. I'm kind of in that in-between. I'm 27. I fished against the Lee brothers, but it was towards the end of their career, towards the beginning of my college career, in that 4 years. For me, it was... I always wanted to do this. I watch you guys every Saturday and Sunday, just like everybody that's watching right now. They're all thinking the same thing that I was just a few years ago. But as a young guy, I wanted to fish tournaments. I wanted to get there, but I didn't have a boat. I didn't have a way to do it. And the Junior Federation was a way for guys that were part of Federation clubs to volunteer as boat captains and take us out. Each month we'd have a tournament. So from the time that I was 11 to 18, not including local tournaments, I got to fish at least one tournament every month, and that was huge.
Wow.
For a guy to take his whole Saturday out and take us out, the guys that are taking us out are Federation guys. They may be experts at one or two things, but not experts at everything. They're not pros. They fish the Federation. They're good anglers. But I was able to pick up one or two things here and there from each guy over the course of 9 years. And that's what really fueled me into wanting to fish more, wanting to fish these bigger tournaments. And when college came around, that was a big eye opener for me. Where we had to travel outside of Florida. If you've ever, obviously you've been down here. I've seen you down here. You fish Okeechobee, you fish Istapoga, you fish Kissimmee. It's all pretty much the same stuff.
Yeah.
You get that experience. I do get to fish 12 months out of the year. Versus some guys that may live up north that don't get to bass fish 12 months out of the year. But what I'm fishing is kind of limited. So when I started fishing college tournaments, it kind of took me outside of my element and really let me see, hey, maybe it's not a bad idea to break out a spinning rod every now and then. That's something you have to do at the highest level if you're going to compete, month in and month out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Pete, I love the fact, it's reinforcing that, that experience, that club experience, that Federation experience. It's important. It's better than just jumping into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to have some of that experience.
Well, it's really cool that you have that experience and you're off to a great start. It was great to see you, have that great finish there at 10 Killer. But one of the questions that I had for him about 10 Killer was, man, 16-inch limit is a tough deal to contend with.
It's a big fish.
Did you throw away some winning 15.5 inchers?
All day long.
Wow.
And, in practice, when I found that spot, Pete, it was so tough that, if you got a couple of 15.5 inchers to bite, you have to, for the sake of the tournament, you have to put that out of your mind as a keeper, but for the sake of sanity as an angler, you have to say, man, that's a good fish. And I caught, when I sat down there in practice, I dropped my drop shot down to the first fish I marked on my graph, and I caught it. It was 15 3/4 inches. Rigged my bait back up, dropped it back down, and I caught one a little over 15 inches. And for me, that was enough to say, hey, I'll try this during the tournament. It wasn't an event where it's like Kentucky Lake in June or July where you're going to go there and they're on a ledge and you're just going to go smash them. You had to work for it. It was tough. That's why everybody was, you hear the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, it must have broke my heart to watch you guys throw those beautiful fish back, and I've been in those scenarios.
Oh yeah.
You know, we had scenarios where we had 18-inch limits
Yeah.
on smallmouth.
Smallmouth at Douglas Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you got to throw a 3.5 pounder.
Yeah. 17 3/4.
You know,
Throw it back.
back in the drink.
Yeah.
It just absolutely breaks your heart.
It's terrible.
But
My buddy Colby fishing open there. It was freezing cold. He said the same thing. They were catching them on an A-rig, throwing back 17.5 inches, like drive you nuts. It's 30 degrees outside.
well, I got a question that's a little off topic, as Stockwell's throwing stuff at us.
Throw candy.
But the you call yourself captain.
Oh yeah.
And where I have a captain's license too. Everybody in Florida is captain. You know, they use that captain insignia. Why is that?
So, first off, I don't refer to myself in the third person. Let's be clear on that. I put that on my Instagram page because, as you say, all the captains in Florida, they refer to themselves as captain. Well, that's true for the saltwater guys, but when it comes to bass fishing guides, you don't see it a lot. You see a lot of Lake Okeechobee this, Okeechobee bass fishing, all that's taken. So I went with captain because I felt like it brought that same, I mean, like you said, it is a course, it is a process to get it. But no, if someone says, what's your name? I do not refer to myself as captain anything.
Pete, it'd be
But
a little
yes,
hard
I mean,
for you to
that's-
switch that.
That's why I
I'm
went with that on
Captain
Instagram.
Pete Glusick.
Kyle,
Bitches.
hey Kyle, this is Dave. Kyle, this is Dave.
I'm
Congratulations,
switching it.
buddy.
I'm
I got a
switching
question
it right now.
I got a question, Kyle. Are you too young to remember the movie Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase?
He
I
doesn't
have
know
no
those
idea
guys.
what you're
Yeah, I was
talking
gonna
about.
God
say,
dang
he's
it.
way too young.
Listen to me,
remember
dude.
that.
You need to YouTube the captain scene. I can just see him and all the other Okeechobee guys like Captain.
Captain,
Doctor.
and Captain.
you got to do that, Kyle. Google when we're done. Google Spies Like Us doctor scene. It'll come up. You'll
Now,
understand
here's the thing I want to know about.
That's
I need to jump in about this captain thing because I can imagine at one point in your life you were younger, you were single, you were at the bars, you were cruising chicks. Did you use the captain title to ever get in someone's pants?
Wait, is that
Absolutely,
a turn on?
absolutely
I don't
not.
know. I'm thinking it might be.
Is
Brian?
it?
Brian, you've used it before.
Dude, if some guy told me he was a captain, I'd be like, what? Are you like,
Used my voicemail, and that's about it.
Like, what's the first thing I have in the notes under Kyle?
You probably promoted your.
He's married. I know he's married. I said when he was
said when
younger.
he was younger.
So-
I'm not talking about now.
Yeah, but you know how some people.
well, I'm just
Ask you a
saying.
question about when you were younger, Mike.
I used a lot of stuff.
We would use
he
whatever.
did the weird belt thing.
Oh, the
he
belt.
had a belt
Oh, do you know the
thing.
belt thing? Let me tell you about the
Can I
belt.
ask you a question about
Yeah.
back when you tucked your jerseys into your pants?
Now wait a minute. I did at one point, but I was. Let me tell you, I was one of the
The
first.
jersey was unbuttoned all the way down to the belt line.
That's
but it was
right.
tucked in.
That's
But it was tucked in.
That's an Italian thing, Kyle. You don't have many of them down there. That's
Italiano.
an Italian thing. up
Monty
here.
is not Italian. You're right.
All right, Pete. Does that answer your question? Now, do you want to be a captain? A Pete Glusick, bitches
Dude,
captain.
I am from now on Captain Pete Gluzak, bitches. Becky coined it.
I like it.
I'm in.
I
I
like
actually
it.
work for Captain Pete Glusick.
I think it's
I'm
good.
part of the Bass University on the water training program.
That's
Pete.
right.
You're taking shots over here.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, I want to jump back. Kyle, sophomore year, second year on the Bass Elites. Talk a little bit about that. Has it been? How's the? There's a lot of guys that have to get through a couple years to get that momentum. Talk to me a little bit about that. It's different for different people. I've seen guys in their career that right off the giddy. Tim Horton wins Angler of the Year his first year fishing the Elites. I've seen other guys have this slow burn till they get to year 5 and 6, and all of a sudden they're unstoppable. Talk to me a little bit about your mindset being, 2 years in, now coming up on your third year next year. What's your mindset on fishing the Elites?
So for me, the Elites has been a big eye opener. From year one, Basically, a lot of my issues come from lack of experience. You know, like traveling to these places where you've never seen them. You only have information that you get online, and that only takes you so far. And so what I'm doing is showing up at these places kind of blind, but transferring it from year 1 to year 2, it was, you know, a lack of execution. You know, you're making the right call. You're going from throwing a chatterbait down the bank where it's windy to going to the back of a creek where it's 2 foot of water and flipping a bush on Hartwell just to try to get a 5 to 6 pound bite. And then you get it and it comes off. I mean, it was a lot of that this year for me. But the biggest thing is watching these guys like Drew Cook, where I fished against them in those same federation tournaments as a junior angler each year. I don't know if you remember or not, but you were actually one of the boat captains. Each year you fish these junior tournaments to make a state championship, and the winner of that state championship would go to the Bassmaster Classic either the week before or the week after, and you would fish your team classic or your kids classic with a Bassmaster angler. So I don't know if you ever got to do that or not, but you had a chance to win a boat. Drew Cook was right there, you know, and as seeing that from him go from the same kind of scenario, being from Florida, doing the same thing, and just show up right off the bat and just kill it, man. I mean, he's had a phenomenal year, just his first year out there. You know, you kind of want to get sidetracked and say, dang, you know, maybe he's just got something that you don't, but you know, you have to stay focused on the task at hand, and that's always to win. I feel like at 10 Killer, as soon as you took that approach to go out and try to just scrap up a limit, you like took yourself completely out of the game for winning, and being able to recognize that is a big thing for me this year. I felt like I had the opportunities to make the top, you know, the last day, the top 10 a few times, and just, you know, it didn't work out. But knowing when you have that chance and when you don't have that chance, being real with yourself is what I call it. You know, if you're not on the fish to win, being able to go out there and get 25th, 22nd place, something like that, and save some points. Yeah. That's the biggest thing from year 1 to year 2 for me.
Yeah. Has guiding helped you? You know, I mean, I know there's a handful of guys that do it. And some say my guiding is just to supplement my income. It doesn't help me whatsoever. Does your guiding help you in your professional endeavor on the elite side?
So yes and no. I feel like it helps me because starting now through, you know, the beginning of January, tournaments are pretty much over, but that's my biggest time down here. You know, everybody comes down here for the winter time. October, November, December, January. Everybody wants to come down to Okeechobee because it's warm here. So for me, it does help because I feel like getting on the water and getting in a, you know, when I'm at home guiding and I suck, I go on the road and I suck. Like it's still a momentum thing. It's still fishing, you know. And as a guide, people often think, you know, well, I'm going with the guide on Okeechobee. I'm going to catch a 10-pounder for sure. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you're still adjusting to the conditions, and I feel like that's the biggest thing is being kind of in tune, not to be too Aaron Martin-esque, but to kind of be in tune with yourself and your surroundings and being able to make those adjustments that you see guys that win big tournaments do. They always do it, and there's no explanation for it other than they're just natural instinct to just go and change it up.
I got to say, you know, guiding for me has been a really interesting study, and I think it's really helped me in a lot of situations because just like you said, Kyle, it's like every day you got to adjust. Yeah. I mean, you got clients. You got to produce.
Yeah, you're forced.
You know, so
also on Okeechobee where people ask you, well, don't you have a lot of good spots here? Well, Okeechobee changes about every 6 minutes.
Right.
So I mean, you have to, just because you caught them in a place last year doesn't mean anything this year. You have to constantly adjust because the water levels are different. I mean, it's grass. It's all grass. So you know how grass changes, whether you're on Champlain or on Okeechobee, it changes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's helped me a lot because when I go to tournaments now, I find myself under a lot less pressure.
Right.
Because every day I get on the water and and I got to make a winning tournament decision
Yeah.
for clients, you know?
Yeah.
And so you practice making those decisions. It's
Yeah.
hard to practice making decisions.
It is.
That has to be relatable to tournament fishing. Is
Yeah.
the element of pressure of feeling when you have clients that they're relying on you to
Yeah.
for you to put them on fish. And I can relate to this to some extent from guiding hunting. You know, that guiding hunting, people would expect you to tell them where the deer are going to come from, where the birds are going to come
Yeah.
from. And that element of pressure, it has to weigh heavy.
Yeah.
You know, as a
Absolutely
tournament angler
it
for
does.
you, Kyle, that element of knowing that, you know, your decision in that moment, if it's correct, it's going to be great. If it's not correct, you're going to feel the consequences of it. Guiding has to play
I mean,
into that.
I always tell people, no matter what you hear, you know, from whatever professional you listen to, we're all guessing. It's all a guess. No matter, you know, if you're right more often than you're wrong, then you're better than most. But we're always guessing what the next move is, what the next decision is, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't make any guarantees other than you'll catch a fish when you come with me because I'm on Okeechobee and I can do that.
Hey, Kyle, I got 3 questions for you. Right. First one, I want you to just chew on a little bit and answer it after the other 2. What's the funniest thing a customer did on your boat or said, like the story that's your go-to story with your friends? I want you to tell us that, but not right now. I got a question, Kyle. 2004, it was my first big boy tournament. I fished it on Okeechobee as a New Jersey guy. I came down there, and I spent most of my time practicing the rim canals because no one was fishing them, and I just felt like tournaments can be won there. Can tournaments be won in the rim canals? Like, is there like monster bags living there or no, dude?
So are you saying you didn't win?
Oh, I sucked. I finised like 4th from the
Because the
bottom.
water was high.
No, it's because I didn't know what I was doing.
The water
But
was the highest
need
it's
to
ever
know-
been.
Wobble pit, did you?
No, I just need to know if like for people that have never fished Okeechobee, there's this massive rim canal that's deep that circles this whole shallow grassy lake, and there's laydowns, there's rock, there's everything. Like there's everything you fish in your own places. Now, please, do people win in there?
Please tell me.
Please, Captain Kyle.
I just see Dave over there bypass. Oh, look at all this lush grass and giant, just reed heads. Nah, we're going into the rim canal.
I know, dude, but it looks so good. Let Kyle answer, the captain.
El Capitano.
I really don't want to give you an honest answer. I'm pretty sure that was only 2 questions, but I'll give you a break.
Well, I didn't
on
do
the
my third
one.
yet. I'm just on number 2.
You did not do your third.
Right, that's coming.
Am I still waiting?
No, please answer that one. I want you to just
Okay.
chew the funny story one for a little bit.
So the rim canal on the south end of the lake is on the inside of the dike, so therefore the lake water can get into it. On the north end of the lake, you have to go through locks to
Right.
get into it, so the water is more stable. That being the case, I feel like the bags are more consistent out of there if you can figure it out. But it's not going to win a slugfest. It's not going to win a 25, 30-pound bag a day type tournament. But when it's freezing cold, that's like my dream come true, is an elite event down there in January when it's just miserably cold and no one can get bit in the lake. In that case, yes, it could be one out of the rim canal.
Well, thank you for half validating me. All right.
Half
What's the other half?
validation.
What's the other half?
Second question is, third question. If you were, where's the best place to launch a kayak to get to the juice out in the grass? Like the shortest run in terms of pedaling from the ramp out to the
Sell your
juice.
kayak and buy a bass boat if you're going on Okeechobee. There's too many alligators.
Dude, nah.
Damn,
I
are you
mean,
scared?
Dude, I would
No.
not get in a kayak on that lake. I'm just,
Really?
I'm just being honest.
I told you, I've seen giant alligator. I've seen probably the goddamn world record American alligator out there. I was in my nitro about 25 years ago when I saw it. But anyway, that's not the point. So
There's just too many, man. I mean, maybe in the 70s or 80s, but not now.
Listen.
There's too many alligators.
let's pretend there's no alligators, and let's pretend that you're not afraid of them. Where would you
Hardy
launch a
Pond.
kayak from?
Hardy
I'm afraid of them. They butt the boat.
Where at?
Hardy Pond Canal, paddle out.
Hardy
as soon as
Pond.
you come into the lake, hang a left, start fishing.
Yeah, Herney Pond Canal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hardy.
Cut.
Hardy.
Now, how close is that
Wait.
to like?
Harney.
How about in terms of like that? What's that one ramp? Pohick? Begins with a P.
Pahokee?
Pahokee. That's Brian laughing. I'll tell you, that was close. How close is it to there?
Hardy Pond is probably 20 miles across the lake.
Okay.
Pahokie's on the east side, Harney Pond's on the west side. Pahokie's probably the worst ramp you could put in with a kayak because it's miles before you get to any grass. I mean, you're out in the open water. That's all rocks, and I mean, it's
that's where I fished. That's where I did all my rim canal work. Was around there.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Sorry about that.
So wait, is Kyle going to feel guilty when Dave gets eaten by an alligator? When he
erroneous. All right.
Erroneous.
I just watched Wedding Crashers yesterday. Erroneous on all counts.
Erroneous.
Dude, get spray paint. Write no alligators.
No,
on the
they're
bottom
not
of your
messing
kayak.
with me. My kayak's the size of them. Hey, so what's the funny story
they
you got?
bought bass boats.
No, they don't. Well, why are you messing with them when they're breeding?
I'm not sure what's going on either.
No.
Wait, what?
He might have lost us.
He's crazy.
Dave is crazy.
Dave, you're nuts.
I'll go right out. I was out there with him when I was just
You're
I don't care.
certifiable now.
I did see one that scared me when I was just down there seeing my mom last month. I was in this preserve, and this thing was giant, and it was enough for me where I was getting closer to him, and he wasn't going under, and he was big.
You were in your kayak?
Yeah, he was. I have 12 foot. He was as big as the kayak from head to tail.
Yeah.
And I turned around. I'm like, all right, this dude's not going down. Like most of them just go down and disappear, and I don't even think about them because I don't see them.
Meanwhile, they're all looking up at you.
But you know,
right under.
Then they got to fight. They better be ready for a fight. You know. But what's your funny story with a customer, Kyle?
Funny story with a customer. Man, I don't know if it's appropriate for Ike Live.
Oh, this is Ike Live. Anything's appropriate.
Mike's already said the F word like 10 times.
Inappropriate.
But I mean, in today's world, everybody's just so offended so easily. I don't know.
It'll be good. Go ahead.
As long as you don't talk about politics or religion, we're okay.
Right.
Or race.
No.
Okay, away from politics, stay away from religion. Gotcha. So I had 3 Russian guys that have with me 6 or 7 times now. This was the first time. And we get out to a place. They're all shiner fishing. They're all spinning rods. You cast for them. All they want to do is set the hook and reel them in. I mean, I get everywhere from guys that have fished their whole life with artificial and guys that just want to sit back and reel them in like they do. It got pretty uncomfortable midday. I mean, they were. This was the second day in. They were catching a lot of fish the first day. Second day started out great, and about midday, the cold front starts coming through, and the fish stop biting. And then they, the whole day they didn't really speak English. There was only one guy that could kind of translate. And the only thing he could say to me when we pulled up to a place and did get a bite within 5 or 6 minutes was, "This is a shit spot. This is shit." So, I mean, the whole thing kind of got uncomfortable. I had them for 3 or 4 days in a row.
Oh God!
And they didn't exactly. I don't know. Their delivery wasn't very good, I guess. They have
no soul.
They have no soul.
It was funny to tell to people, but it wasn't funny at the time.
This is #1 shit spot.
This is shit.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, this is where we caught 57 yesterday in 2 hours. Like, give me a break. Freezing cold in Florida.
Shit. This shit.
I've had those kind of customers. How does Okeechobee handle all the fishing pressure? Harney Pond Canal on a Monday, a Tuesday in the middle of the week. You have to wait in line to launch your boat.
That's where you're sending me with the kayak?
Yeah. I mean, how that lake handles the pressure, like, it's amazing.
You're going to have to pedal really fast.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not as, it's not as fish as other lakes are year round. Like, we get 5 or 6 months of really hard fishing, and then for 5 or 6 months, it's, there's not very many people other than the local guys out there fishing the same places.
I guess that's true.
So, the bad part about Okeechobee is that fish is small. The whole lake is not in play for the most part, but it handles it because it's just got. I talked to a biologist here, and he said that if everybody that came down during the winter kept their limit of bass every day for 5 years, it would do nothing to the population in the lake.
That's awesome.
Absolutely nothing.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That sounds like Chamber of Commerce propaganda.
It might be propaganda. It
There
might
you
be.
go.
Now, I do want to know what's
Yeah.
the current situation with Lake Okeechobee though, because I've heard
some stuff.
It's low right now. I know the big you had the algae thing going on.
And they
with
red
the-
tied the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, what's going on with the lake right now?
So a lot of that was about 2 years ago now, but the lake's back up. It was low for a short period of time, which after Hurricane Irma, a lot of the hydrilla, if you remember last time you guys were at Lake Okeechobee, Harney Pond area from the island on the outside all the way back to the ramp was hydrilla.
Yeah.
Eelgrass, hydrilla, all that has been gone for a little bit over 2 years now. And it hasn't grown back due to muddy water, high water. So this summer was the first time they let it get back down to under 11 feet. What bothers me is a lot of that stuff didn't grow back. A lot of that stuff is still gone, and now it's back up to 13.5 feet. We're about to go back into rainy season. Like, it's going to get, we're in the middle of hurricane season. It takes one hurricane, one tropical storm, we're back at 2-3 feet higher.
Right.
When that happens, that stuff doesn't grow back. So as far as the submergent grasses, the hydrilla, the eelgrass, the peppergrass, it's at like an all-time low. But as far as weights to win tournaments, it's still, you're talking June, July, August, 30-pound bags to win each tournament. Like,
Wow.
it's still Okeechobee.
Wow.
You just have to fish it different.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I heard that they were spraying a lot. One person I talked to recently said they left Okeechobee because they keep spraying it and killing the grass. Is that going on down there?
Yeah, so they've sprayed Okeechobee and Kissimmee and Toho. They've sprayed all the lakes. I mean, St. Johns River. They spray them all. They've sprayed them as far as I can remember. I was born in '92, but I mean, they've sprayed them for a long time. They've sprayed them to manage the things, the aquatic vegetation that they say is invasive, but the problem that we have as fishermen is the way that they manage it, how much they spray it. If they make one pass on this stuff, it's dead. Why do you have to make 20 passes? So the misconception is a lot of the submergent vegetations, like we talked about, the hydrilla, the peppergrass, the eelgrass, has been gone because of the hurricanes and the high water. People are now starting to blame that on spraying, which is not necessarily the case. So you have, just like in politics, which we're not supposed to talk about, people on both sides that are arguing over something that doesn't actually add up. We have a problem, yes. We have things that are adding to it. The spraying does not help, but it's not the primary source of the problem.
Gotcha. All right, Kyle, before we let you go, this is Ike Live, and we have a little game we're going to play with you before we let you go. It's the Ike Live Rapid Fire!
Rapid fire!
For Kyle today.
Fire!
Here it goes. Now, you know the rules.
Or knockers or kilos?
That's right. That's not the question, but you know the rules. This is the Ike Live show, so you have to answer these questions honestly. You have to be honest when you answer these questions. Here they go. You got 6 questions, and if you get, what is it, Pete? 80% of them right? Is that what it is? Was it 75 or 80%?
It changes every show.
Changes.
If you get even one right.
You need to get 80% right, Kyle, to win this game. Okay.
How many questions are you asking?
6 questions.
Can I
Question.
win that sweet Kevin Van Dam cutout behind you?
That's right. Where is it?
Can you have
Where's
that?
it? You can have
It
it.
was behind someone earlier.
Oh,
with
it's
the
behind
glasses.
Becky. We'll send you that.
Yeah, you can have Kevin.
And
Yeah,
the
we'll
last
send you
version.
Kevin. Okay, here it goes. Question 1. Swim jig or chatterbait?
Chatterbait.
Chatterbait.
That is correct!
Yeah!
Chatterbait. That is correct. Okay. Vienna sausages or beanie weenies?
Beanie weenies.
Dave?
He's correct.
That is correct!
I grew up eating both.
Beanie weenies.
I don't know either one of them.
What's a beanie weenie?
Vienna sausage? Are they
It's
the
a
same?
knockoff
better.
of Vienna.
No,
They're not?
they're different.
Vienna beanie weenies are Vienna sausages with beans.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Mike's never had one of those.
That's right. Okay, question 3.
Poor soul.
Is it true if you were not a professional bass angler, you would have been an Olympic swimmer?
Not true.
Dave?
False.
That's probably true.
That's true? You are incorrect on that one. You would have been an Olympic swimmer.
Is that the Michael Phelps joke? Are we going there?
Yes. How'd you know?
It's the eaters, right? How does he swim so fast with these things? Come on.
All right, got that one wrong. That's all right. We have more left. You're still okay.
I like how you can get your own answer wrong.
It's up to us, Becky.
All right.
We're the arbiters.
Question number 4. How is Okeechobee correctly pronounced? Okeechobee or Okeechobee?
Neither.
Dave?
Incorrect.
Incorrect!
How is the big O pronounced?
How is the big O pronounced? What do you mean?
Okeechobee.
Correct.
Okeechobee.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why does Scott Martin say Okeechobee?
Because he's a weirdo.
That is correct! That's an overriding point. He gets.
That's bonus points.
That's bonus. It was overriding.
Extra credit.
That was the point of the whole thing, I believe.
Okay.
I always made fun of the way he said it. I was like, why is he doing that with his mouth?
All right. Speaking of Scott Martin, question number 5.
Oh, jeez.
What does Scott Martin's hair smell like?
Is it multiple choice?
What does Scott Martin's hair smell like?
Depending on what year range you're referring to.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, give us one.
The modern day Scott Martin's hair
Yeah.
probably smells like a mix between Pantene Pro V and UV Tightline Baits.
Dave? I think that one's right.
Correct.
That is correct! Pantene and UV.
I would have thrown in Mark.
Tight lines.
I was thinking like Aquanet and Fresh Money. You know what I mean?
Fresh money.
Yeah.
You know how Fresh Money smells?
What now? What
He's sound asleep in bed right now.
Yeah.
what did the old school Scott Martin hair smell like?
That's a good question.
Gambler Baits, man.
Oh,
Garlic
Gambler
and
Bang.
Nasty Gambler Stink.
Yeah, he put
And
bang
Pert
right
Plus.
in it. And Pert Plus.
I was thinking
Pert
like
Plus.
Matt in Wisconsin said
old
his hair
probably
smells like self-tanner and coconuts.
Coconut squaw.
All right. This is an important question. Kyle, for the win, you need to get this one right. And this is a true or false question.
I got one wrong.
Don't worry about it.
Here it goes.
We're not good
Here
at
it
math.
goes. This is a true or false. A young Kyle Monty would fish Lake Okeechobee shirtless so as to appear a schlep to would-be spot suckers. Let me repeat. A young Kyle Monty would fish Lake Okeechobee completely shirtless so as to appear a schlep to would-be spot suckers.
True.
Yes.
That's correct! Kyle, you just won the Ike Live Rapid Fire. You're going to be getting a signed, bearded Kevin Van Dam cutout.
Yes.
Wow.
You know what?
Wow.
eBay next week.
I feel like up our way it would take like a Klingon cloaking device to hide from the Five Alive spot suckers. You know what I mean? That shirtless thing wouldn't even work.
Wow.
I don't really understand
Power poles came
why.
out, and I got 2 power poles on my boat, and I was sitting out there, and a group of guys went by, and they said, "Hey, that guy's got 2 power poles," and slowed down and turned around and started flipping the reeds right in front of me.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
Like 2 power poles was a big deal.
That's terrible.
So if you go shirtless, you appear like a schlep.
yeah,
that
you're a
doesn't know
schlep.
fishing?
Yeah, you're shirtless.
I was in a pretty schleppy boat, so it added to it. The
Yeah.
boat was pretty rough. It was like a 1998 Ranger.
Undercover
or
brother.
80.
Undercover
brother.
Pete's going shirtless tomorrow.
Don't put blue power poles on a white boat.
Yes.
Pete's gone shirtless the rest of his life.
That's right.
Oh.
Kyle, it was awesome having you on the show. Awesome time. And let me listen. I have a feeling next year you're going to smash them. Momentum is a good thing, dude.
Huge
Ending
thing.
that year with that event for you is going to be a good thing. There's people watching right now that want to follow you. Give them a little tidbit. Where can they follow you on social media? How can they keep up with you?
Begins with Captain.
Begins with Captain on Instagram, Captain Kyle Monty, and then on Facebook it's Kyle Monty Fishing. Twitter, I'm just now getting started on it. It's Fisherman Monty, but for me, Twitter's still kind of a thing of I have no idea what the heck's going on with Twitter. Like I don't even know why people watch Twitter. But
Pete,
this has been great, man.
When's the last time you made a tweet?
1960.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Pete.
Kyle, I appreciate
or
you coming
you
on.
can go over to thebassuniversity.com and you can go out and you can learn from Kyle.
That's
and
true.
do an on-water training
On the
trip.
water training.
Yes.
That's what you need. That's the deal.
Hey, and it's not just shallow water; it's deep water too. You just got to you got to be from the right state at the right time for me to show you this stuff because it's gold.
That's awesome. Well, Kyle, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Kyle.
Kyle Monty, everybody. Captain Kyle.
Good luck, buddy. Captain Corelli.
It's awesome, man. Look, it's funny. Before Beck came on the couch, we were having this big conversation on how it's not politically
Inappropriate.
correct anymore to wear that.
The Indian headdress.
And
God.
Beck puts it right on.
Total cultural appropriation, man. You entitled.
Typical Beck.
Your white privilege oozing all over the couch.
Don't you remember Seth was on that show and had that on the whole show, and we caught so much shit for it?
I
we
think it was
really?
just
Oh,
one,
yeah.
That was one whiny.
I'm just
prick.
saying. All right, whatever.
I
I
love a good
Looks
headpiece.
good.
And
Yeah,
I
it
have
looks
an
good on
obsession with feathers.
know. Well, it looks good on you.
Well, hopefully that person's not a fan anymore.
Okay.
Becky's responsible for like 12 peacock deaths a year.
I know. Wait do you see her purses?
Oh, I know. Yeah, she got
You see her purses? Yeah,
Yeah.
she got alligator.
yeah,
and-
lined with cougar gut.
yeah, snake. Poor things. Pete, that was an awesome interview. Great to catch up with Kyle. Young guy on tour, guiding, supplementing with guiding. That's a great deal. He's going to be okay. I got a good feeling about it. Listen, hang in there. When we come back, we've got one last segment, and this is going to be a great segment. We've got Rue. What's the official Rue name?
Rue the Bass Dog.
Rue the Bass Dog joining us. I don't know how that's going to go. And also, we're going to be giving away some prizes here, Pete.
Reminiscing.
We've got the Reminiscing. We've got the little Ike Live gift bag we're going to be giving away. And we're
calls.
going to open up the phone lines one last time in the old studio. Hang in there. When we come back, more Ike Live.
Like, you good, man? You know we're doing a video right now, right? I'm about to go down there and tackle that dude. Hey! Hey there, official world. What's shaking, fat cat dude, and coming at you? Listen, let's talk about something very important. And I'm not talking about Jack and Jaws Ripping Lips 2455 and Big Belly Kelly out of a brush pile. I found Primal Urge Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, what Primal Urge Foods is, it is a monthly meat stick box. Every month you get a box of meat sticks to your door. Retail is probably, I don't know, $30, $40, $14.95 a month. Now you can pick many different varieties. You can pick a surprise box. You get a little bit of this, you get a little bit of that. You get some 24.55 and 5 No, we don't like antibiotics. No antibiotics. And these right here, completely eagle free. Now the gas stations meat sticks you buy probably have eagle in them. They have rhinoceros in them. But we are Americans. America! We're not eating bald eagles in our meat sticks. Guaranteed, none of these meat sticks have bald eagle in them. That's the #1 reason to buy these meat sticks. You want to get granddaddy a gift? Hey, you're dating a girl. Ooh, she fine as muscadine wine. And you want to warm up her hair. I'm getting excited talking about women. I forget what it's. Primal Urge, $14.95 a month. Monthly meat box subscription. It could be called a bombs box of meat sticks. Just do like I do, and every month the box shows up, and I don't know what's going to be in it, but they're all delicious. The meat right there. That is, I tell you what, that's something good right there. It's girthy. It's Fat Cat Newton, Primal Urge Foods. Please, Ike Live is the code, guys. Ike Live. Ike Live is the code. Okay? Prime Roach Foods, Ike Live is the code. It gets you $5 off a box. Okay?
4.5-inch drop shot worm, Bama bug. Finesse jig, PB&J, give me something hard. Hey, KVD here. Now, I didn't always know this much about fishing. It's a 4-aught EWG worm hook. In fact, there was a time when I couldn't tell the difference between a jerkbait and a stickbait. But then I signed up for Mystery Tackle Box, the original monthly tackle subscription. And now I know more about fishing than I do about calculus.
And he knows a lot about calculus.
Plus, I get amazing extras like free fishing magazines. October 2016. Featured article, 4 places to throw a frog. Exclusive decals. Zombie bass. And how-to videos for all the great baits I receive. How to tune a crankbait. Is that underwater footage I smell?
I got goosebumps.
So if you're looking to develop enhanced fishing abilities like me, or you just like getting new tackle every month, go to mysterytacklebox.com and get your box today. Ooh, live minnows. Is it lunchtime already? Nature's candy. Oh. Is he in my pocket?
Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. I love fishing this time of the year. It's cold, it's winter, it's snowing. But if you want to prevent the buildup of ice, use Real Snot. Every time I'm fishing this time of the year, I put a couple squirts on all my guides, especially the tip, before I start casting. Try that tip when you're fishing under these cold conditions, and you're going to catch more fish. See you later.
There's a special place in our hearts for the tools of the trade. They're what we prep for a good day on the water. They're what we clean after a good day in the field. Flambeau's patented Z-Rust technology protects the gear of today from rust and corrosion. Z-Rust, for the performance of tomorrow. Preserve, perform, repeat.
You work hard to catch your fish. TH Marine has 2 products to ensure your fish survive. The Oxygenator injects 100% pure oxygen into your live well. That increases fish survival by 35%. For the perfect combo, add G-Juice Live Well treatment. It calms fish, stops bleeding, removes ammonia, and replaces slime coat. Get an Oxygenator and G-Juice and keep your fish alive.